Hey everyone, Harris O'Malley from DrNerdLove.com. This week, I want to talk to you about what it takes to succeed, especially socially. See, one of the mistakes that a lot of people make is that they think that there's a magic formula to success. If you follow this prescription to the letter, then boom, you're a winner and it's all popping bottles and banging models from here on out. And then you hit your first roadblock and it all falls apart, messily and all over the place. The problem is that success isn't about executing a flawless plan or looking 6 moves ahead. It's about your attitude and your mindset. Because when you are setting out to change your life, whether it's becoming the man that you've always wanted to be or chasing after a long-held dream, you're gonna eat a lot of shit before you actually get a taste of victory. But that's actually a good thing. When you're starting out and making changes, failure is a sign that you are pushing yourself past your comfort zone. You're forcing yourself into new territory, doing things that you never believed that you could do before. You are taking on challenges that you finally have the guts to face. But you have to have the right mindset in order to actually persevere and make it through the pain period and into success. You may have noticed that the exercises that I've been recommending to you in previous episodes are more about how you view the world than they are about mastering specific techniques. And that's because without the right mindset, you're basically gonna end up screwing yourself. And yeah, I see all of you reaching for the back button on your browser saying, "Thank you very much, I've already heard about the secret." That's not what I'm talking about. You know me, this isn't some woo-woo bull where if you think the right thing's hard enough, you get magic powers. It's about understanding how to set yourself up for success. I'm really not joking when I say that your attitude is destiny. Your attitude literally changes how you see the world and, more importantly, how you respond to it. There's a saying that's attributed to Henry Ford: whether you think you can or you think that you can't, you're right. It's a complete cliche, I admit, but it's also 100% true. Having a negative outlook on life makes almost everything next to impossible. You're prone to catastrophizing, where every setback ramps up into the worst case scenario. It saps your emotional strength and your energy, and it ruins your ability to recover from challenges because you're always on the lookout for the catch and the pitfalls and all the ways that you're gonna get screwed over. As a result, you aren't able to take advantages of the opportunities that come your way because, frankly, you've already convinced yourself that you're going to fail. You end up taking fewer chances, and you don't commit to the ones that you do take because you don't believe that you can really succeed in the first place. This is why, as the wise man once said, do or do not. There is no try. The word try becomes the way that you attempt to justify your failure before you've even started. A success-oriented mindset, on the other hand, sets you up for victory because it helps strip away the things that hold you back and keeps you focused on what matters. It helps you avoid all the ways that you sabotage yourself and gives you the strength and the emotional resilience it takes to get up, get moving, to keep moving forward, and to win. If you change your mindset, then you change your life. The first step is very simple. You need to focus on what you can actually control. A lot of people get bent out of shape over the fact that, honestly, they're not superhuman. They are upset that they don't have the ability to reorder the universe in a way that would give them the life that they dream about. This seems silly until you realize how many things that we get upset about that are completely outside of our control. And this ranges from the vagaries of the human metabolism to our genetics to just plain random chance. But since we don't have the Infinity Gauntlet, you can't really do anything about it. But it doesn't stop us from feeling like we should be able to do something. And when we can't, we get upset. One of the most common complaints that I hear from guys when it comes to dating involves issues that are completely outside of their control, like their height. Your height is what it is, and there's nothing you can do to change that, and that causes guys a lot of stress because if you're not a certain height, and that height varies, we feel like it disadvantages us. And that stress over something we have no power over ends up sabotaging any success we might otherwise have by making us angry and bitter for no reason except that that's how we chose to see things. It's easy to insist that women are shallow and superficial and will never date you because you're not tall enough, and ignoring the fact that folks like Oscar Isaac and Daniel Radcliffe exist, who are 5'8" and 5'5" respectively. This is a classic example of setting yourself up for failure. When you have a self-limiting mindset like this, the fact that something is out of your control will utterly kill your game. It'll be easier to convince yourself that this one thing, whether it's your height or something else, is all women care about than it is to accept it for what it is and to work with it. Because you see this as a limitation, you're going to go into any interaction, assuming you bother approaching women at all, looking for signs that she's not interested, even if those signs aren't actually there. You're coming in with the assumption that she already doesn't like you, and when women pick up on that negativity, and trust me, they will, they're going to nope out of there so fast that they will leave a human-shaped cloud behind. For someone with a success-oriented mindset, their height is not a problem. It's not a limitation because they don't let it be one. It's just one fact about them among many. This is why focusing on what you can control is important. Understanding that you can't control everything helps you realize that you aren't defined by your supposed limitations, just as any setbacks you may face don't define you either. Yes, you may have worked your ass off, but you still didn't hit that goal, you didn't make that sale, you didn't get the grade that you hoped for. It wasn't that you weren't good enough. It was just that things didn't line up the way that they needed to, often for reasons that you can't possibly account for, and that includes dating. The woman that you asked on a date who turned you down may not be interested in you for reasons that have nothing to do with you. She may have just had a bad breakup. You may look like an ex of hers. She had a hard day at work, or she's just not feeling it for anyone right now. And there is no magic formula of things you can do or say that will make a woman instantly fall for you, no matter what some people will promise you. Of course, a lot of people will hear this and then immediately pivot to, well, if things are out of my control, then success isn't guaranteed, and why bother? Which, well, to quote the sage, that is why you fail. The thing to keep in mind is that when you accept that you can't control everything, you're freed up to focus on the things that you can control. You can't guarantee an outcome, but you can set things up to maximize your odds that you will succeed. Case in point, your height. You can't change your height, but you can control how you deal with it. You can learn to fill a room with your presence. You can dress in ways that make you seem larger even though you're no different than you were before. You can focus on your confidence and the value that you bring to the table, or you could prioritize giving your attention to women who would be attracted to you for you instead of getting hung up on the ones who don't like you. These are all going to help maximize the odds that you're going to find someone who digs what you have to offer, even if you're not the first draft pick for the NBA. And incidentally, if you want an episode about tips for short guys, hit up the comments. If enough of you are interested, I'll put one together for you. Another way this mindset helps set you up for success is that you're able to look at the results differently. If you have a self-limiting mindset, then when you fail at something, you tend to also define yourself as a failure. You have made that failure part of your identity. You're now someone who fails. On the other hand, if you have a success-oriented mindset, you are in a position to learn from what went wrong and to do things differently. You have chosen to see these things in a way that helps you. Failing at something isn't a judgment about your value as a person, it just means that sometimes happens. The fact that things didn't work out the way that you hoped means that not succeeding is just that. A lack of success. It's valueless. It's temporary. It may suck. There may be setbacks, but it also teaches you what success means to you and what it's going to take to finally get there. You're now in a position to try again and to do things differently, which means that you have an even greater chance for success this time around. But just as importantly, you need to recognize that everything will be okay, and ultimately, you have nothing to lose. This is especially true when it comes to dating. One of the most important things that you need to internalize is that one rejection isn't the end of the world. There are quite literally millions of women out there. The fact that one woman doesn't like you ultimately means just that. that one woman didn't like you, not that you have been rejected by all women everywhere. Her not liking you just means that you're free to move on and let this one go. Recognizing this and adopting this abundance mentality helps maximize your opportunities for success. You don't get over-invested in any one person, especially when you barely know them, which means that you haven't put all your chips on making this one specific relationship work. Yeah, she's hot. Looking at her makes you think about the kind of love that one only finds in old coffee commercials, but she's just one person. As amazing as she no doubt is, there are many other women out there who are just as amazing, if not more so, and more importantly, are waiting for someone like you to come along. And when you understand that, then it all becomes easier, because you no longer see this one person as your last and only hope for love. You realize you don't have anything to lose. That means you have more reasons to go ahead, approach that cutie, start that conversation, and see where things will go. And because you haven't imbued this one approach with terrible purpose and meaning, you're more relaxed. And that means that it's easier to talk, flirt, and just be your most charismatic self. And if you happen to stumble over a word or two, you make a joke that doesn't land, or you're not perfectly suave, whatever. It's not the end of the world. If she's into you, then she won't care. And if she's not, it's no great loss. But the most important part of developing a mindset for success is in how you choose to see the world. Yeah, I realize that when you're neck deep in and sinking deeper, it's hard to maintain a positive outlook. But at the end of the day, a lot of the things that we encounter are functionally neutral. The way that we feel about them depends on how we choose to look at them. Now, don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean that you need to adopt some absurdly Pollyanna-esque interpretation of everything that happens, and it doesn't mean that everything has an upside. You still have to live in the real world, and no amount of optimistic thinking is going to turn a dumpster fire into a positive. But by the same token, not everything is a disaster either. A lot of times, reframing the situation is all that it takes to turn catastrophe into a potential win. Yes, we've all heard the cliches about opportunities in disguise, and let's be real, we've all wanted to smack the people who've said that to us. But framing something as a challenge instead of a disaster or a failure changes how we relate to it. A challenge is tough, yeah, but challenges are still something that you can overcome. It may be difficult, but difficult isn't the same as impossible. And reframing adversity can make the difference between pulling out a win and losing everything. It's easy to get lost in catastrophic thinking and assuming that everything is It hits that negativity bias I told you about in previous episodes. But a lot of times, choosing to look at it as something that's survivable, unpleasant but survivable, can give you the strength to grit your teeth and power on through. You fix what you can and you just keep moving forward, and when things aren't as immediate and you've calmed down, you can see that things weren't as bad as you thought they were, and now that you're not in a state of panic, you're in a better position to make it through and to turn things around. The same applies to dating issues. Yeah, rejection stings, but it's not going to kill you. It's just one more person you don't need to worry about, because there are many more out there. Even when it feels like you've exhausted your last option, you know that there are more out there, and if you haven't decided to throw your hands in the air and declare that this is all impossible, then you're going to be in a position to get back up and go out and find the person who is right for you. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, internalizing this mindset can be really difficult. A lot of times you are fighting against self-limiting beliefs that have become part of your identity. You have to consciously decide to reframe the situation, to force yourself to not jump to some worst case scenario where everything's and also on fire. But a success-oriented mindset is a habit. The more that you choose to see the world this way, the more that it becomes a natural part of you. This doesn't mean that you won't fail. Failure is a part of life. Learning how to deal with it is a part of life. But having a mindset for success means that failure won't stop you. You'll be putting yourself in a position so that when the opportunity comes, you will be ready to make the most out of it. It's time to let go of all of those self-imposed limitations and set yourself up for the success that you deserve. Hey, Thanks for checking out the latest video. So, you've heard from me, now I want to hear from you. Tell me about the times that you have pulled out a win when nobody expected it, or how you've learned to succeed. Share your stories in the comments below. I can't wait to read them. And hey, if you have a short dating question or a topic you'd like to hear more about on here, then let me know. You can share that in the comments as well, or you can send that to me at doc@drnerdlove.com and put "for YouTube" in the subject header. Now, if you've been struggling with getting numbers and turning those numbers into dates instead of just dead connections, then check out my newest book, I Got Her Number, Now What? This is going to take your phone and turn it into your date ATM. Links to buy it are in the show notes, so be sure to check it out. And if you do check it out, then do me a huge favor and rate and review it on Amazon and Goodreads. If you're digging the series, then you already know what to do. Hit that thumbs up, let me know, share it around with all of your friends. And if you are really enjoying these videos, if you feel like you're getting a lot out of it and it's really helping you and you want to support the channel, then consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/drnerdlove. Even $1 is a huge help. I know I say this every week, but I mean it every week. I can't do this without the support of my patrons, so whether you have just joined or you've been a supporter from the beginning, thank you all so very much. Meanwhile, you can follow me on Twitter at @DrNerdLove. You can keep up with the latest news by joining the Facebook page at facebook.com/drnerdlove. And as always, hit that logo to subscribe, check out my other videos, and I will see you here next time with more about love, sex, and dating. Later.